Thank you for the invitation, and we will start to speak shortly about ECPR, 20 minutes, I know. It's not the first one, because this is the end. We can start by the end. Okay, we will start because I have 20 minutes, if I understand, no problem. Anyway, you know, from many years, we have, for cardiac arrest, a survival rate in Europe, depending, in France, it's 3 to 7% everywhere. Rural place and in city. In Paris, for example, it's 10%. And it's probably 20 years we speak about intubation, epinephrine, and no change in the survival rate. What is the main change, the main shift in the world was probably ECPR 10 years ago. And since now 1 year and a half, we have randomized study. The first one was from Minneapolis. They take cardiac arrest, go shortly to hospital, and they find just with 15 patients in each group, a significant difference between the two groups. ECPR patients survive really more with good neurologic status at 6 months. Just 15 in each group. It was stopped because the difference is so huge. It's not ethical to continue. That means it's really, really, really huge difference. And after we have two other randomized studies in the world. So another one was from Belolovec in Prague, and they have the same, oh, thank you. Well, sure, my conflict of interest now. And this is the first one from Dimitris. You see, the large difference is huge. The second one was by Belolovec, exactly the same system, little bit different in the methodology, and they don't find any difference. It's very strange. But when we check why, we find, because in one end, in the group without any CPR, there are CPR in fact. Because the doctor have a young guys in cardiac arrest, you know, we have a techniques can save life, and you said, no, they do it. They do it. And when you check really what the patient have, patient with natural risk, patient with CPR, without any CPR. A huge difference too. That means in randomized study, you have a second argument. The last one was from Netherlands. They don't find any difference, but probably the methodology can be really criticized. Many centers have just one ECPR in the study. They don't know really how to do ECMO. And the second point, in the group with ECPR, 70 patients, 18 haven't ECPR. Why? It's not fair in terms of methodology. And that means now if you check on the literature, they do something meta-analyze, and you find really ECPR can save life. That's sure now. And if you see cardiac arrest, whatever the read, after 15 minutes, what's happening? Your patient is dead, whatever the read. If you check the 3 randomized study, we are here at this point. That means each survivor is a survivor turned from the death. We have no control group at this point. We try to control to classical CPR, but we have no survivor at this point anymore. Now the question is where? Where do we need to do the ECPR? We have 2 different strategies. First one is to take the patient shortly to hospital, and the second one is to go directly where the patient is to do the ECPR. And the load and go strategy can be done if the time is very short. In fact, in France, one city Nancy tried to do a protocol to reduce the time to be on pump, because we have just 60 minutes between the cardiac arrest to be on pump. And they do a large protocol. It's very nice. They win 20% of time. But anyway, they are in 80 minutes on pump. That means it's too much. It's a small city. They do a really short circle around. It's very hard because we have 2 other things. The quality of CPR during the transportation. You can say, okay, you have automatic message. Don't change nothing of the quality of CPR, in fact, during transportation. And the security of us. Anyway, when you would like to go shortly to hospital, you take more risk. And you have some publication recently in US, you have a lot of people dying EMS about that. And in Paris, we have some specialty. Now we need to be on bicycle because we have too much traffic. And it's still be hard to a patient in cardiac arrest under the bicycle. Anyway, this is why we developed a system where we use the red bar, that means the advanced life, the transportation time, to use this time to do the ECPR on scene. During the time of the advanced life support, the ECPR team was project on scene and prepare the ECPM, and we win a lot of time, and now it's 20 years. This is a video, we have no time, but just to have the ambience where we are. We have the firefighter, they do the basic life support, CPR, the police guy should see what's happening. We have the music because it's a TV show. It's very important to have TV show to show to the population and politics guy what we have to do for change. We intubate the patient like advanced life support, but anyway, the most important thing is after when we do the ACPR and we explain we need to do the surgery directly on the street and we have the music and everything because it's a TV show. But anyway, it's very important for us because with this type of TV show, we have money by the government. Okay, well, you can see on Twitter and everywhere. We have a lot of examples of pre-hospital ACPR, and sometimes you see in this part, it's really hard if you need to go to hospital. You cannot. This patient will be excluded for ACPR for sure. And we win a lot of time. This picture was very knowledge in the Louvre. You can do some museum at the same time. Il y a le radeau de la minute et le peuple guidant la liberté. To be honest, one guy was very poor. When I do this class, I said, you are the family? No, I'm the guardian of the museum. We develop a real strict protocol for ECPR, and we don't need so much people, probably less than in hospital. We have 3 guys from EMS for the red code, and 3 guys for the ECPR. 1 doctor, 1 nurse, and 1 paramedics. We are together, but paramedics can help the doctor anyway. And what is on real life? You have the team. The ECMO doctor was helped by the ICU doctor, mobile ICU doctor, because in France we have mobile ICU with a doctor for cardiac arrest always. We have the ECMO paramedics and anesthetic nurse, and the mobile ICU team continues the care. We cannot do ECPR if you have not the best quality of care before. Okay, it's a very important point. And what we show is when we change the selection, I show you what selection we use, because before we use the no-flow, but nobody knows the no-flow. I don't know if you check your register. In mine is 0, that means good prognosis. 0 to 5 is good prognosis. 10 minutes, I don't know. And more than 10 is dead. In fact, we don't know the no-flow. When we change to sign of life, 19% of survivor, and when we change to go systematic implantation of ECPR in pre-hospital setting, 38% of survivors, CPC 1 or 2, that means good neurologic point of view, at the discharge of ICU. And these results are constant from 10 years now. And when we show on the register of Paris, a large register, but these are more than 4, I think it's, you see 500 ECPR in and out of hospital. Pre-hospital ECPR was really a sign of survival. The other things is we can save more lives because we go very far away and we go with the helicopters than 70 kilometers or 80 kilometers to save more life. For people before was completely excluded because they are not so near a center of ECMO center. Now we have a lot of centers do pre-hospital ECPR in the world, US, UK, or Israel, or France, everywhere in the world, Australia too. That means it's a good idea probably. Just show you some picture from US, Albuquerque. They have not enough money. What they're doing? They do end crank when they do ECPR with a firefighter. But in Minneapolis, I show you the first slide. This is a circle around the hospital. They take patients. It's a small one, and they said that we have a problem, and they try to change, and they do a meeting point, a rendezvous techniques. That means they train 3 other hospitals. The patient will go in the nearest hospital of these 4 hospitals, and the car with ECMO do the meeting in this hospital. You increase the circle of patient can be done. And now what they're doing, because they think they cannot save more life, they do it's not a truck, I don't know the name exactly. It's so huge. In Paris, we cannot turn at the first turn, for sure. Anyway, they increase the circle so much, they go in pre-hospital. In your mind, US sent doctor in pre-hospital setting. This is 40 years old. They said, never we send doctor in pre-hospital setting. Now, for ECPR, they send a doctor. Now, for criteria, we have a lot of variability. I show you the different criteria of inclusion in the different randomized study. For us, the best way, because we shift the paradigm to the brain, we save the brain. And we take the heart rate to try to select patient. No, sign of life. You see a sign of life patient with shockable rate, 23%, 4% without any sign of life. But the most important is this part. A patient with no shockable rate, with sign of life, 12% of survival. Can we exclude this patient? 12%. I think no. But a patient with no shockable rate and no sign of life, you can exclude it. And this is a major part of the patients we have today in pre-hospital setting. That's a very important point. This is what we use every day now to classify patients. And the most important, you see sign of life, for sure, hypothermia and intoxication or general anesthesia. But ECPR, it's a global strategy. You cannot do just in pre-hospital alone. Your hospital need to follow you. Cardiologists need to follow you. Everybody, it's a global program. We do coronary angiogram for each patient. And what is very fun is they have a lot of lesion and very proximal lesion. This is why they cannot have a WASC, a natural WASC. It's a major point today, this point. It's organ donation. When I do ECPR, it's to save the patient. But, unfortunately, 20% of my patients going in brain death. And we show recently the quality of the organ of this patient after cardiac arrest in ECPR is probably the same and probably better than classical brain death. And that means we are able to do a lot of organ donation on this patient. So that means you have 30 patients survive and 20% can do donation and save many lives. That means when we do ECPR today in Paris, 50% of the patient do something for himself or for the society. And from economic point of view, it's huge. Because my director, when I started the program, said, okay, it's too expensive. And we said organ donation. He said, okay, you can continue. One patient paid for 3 ECPR. From economic point of view, for sure, you need to have a business plan. The organ donation, as explained, is very important point of view. And you give a positive image of medical unit. And as it was just explained before, today, we are very tired in hospital. And we have some difficulty to have a lot of people, to have a team building and something else. This program is really something very positive for media. Just before we conclude, my point of view is, before what we describe classical cardiac arrest, you have the electrical phase with AAD. And after 4 minutes, we said circulatory phase, CPR and AAD. And the goal is always to have a return of spontaneous circulation. And after 10 minutes, metacolite phase, and you do a lot of different things, intubation, epinephrine, without any evidence. Less than ECPR. And after 16 minutes, the patient or is dead, or he have a WASC, and in ICU, he can survive, he can do donation, and he can die. I think the new vision with ECPR is first line of treatment is the lay people. Lay people. We need to train lay people. We cannot do ECPR without any lay people. CPR and AED to have a WASC. And after 10 minutes, we shift the paradigm for the brain, ECPR directly. And after we can decide in ICU with time what the patient doing. Remember, it's not equal. If you do an ECPR program, you need to train your population, have an apps in Francis of Life, and after you have ECPR. Okay? And when you do ECPR first, you increase the level of the other link, in fact. You need to have a cardiac arrest team, for sure, we explain. And you are so lucky. We save 30% of patients these last 10 years. We just 2 tubes and a device. We don't know nothing what we're doing in ICU. Really nothing. We are black. You have a lot of PhD, thesis, research about ECPR patients because they are very new. We don't know what's happening after in ICU of all these parts. Inflammatory response, hypothermia, everything. We are black today. ECPR saves life, for sure. The paradigm shift, brain first. sign of life is probably the best thing to select the patient because we are brain first. Think about organ donation. It's really a new way of thinking when we speak about Ecpr today. Pre-hospital Ecpr is safe and possible and probably win time, a lot of time. And if we win time, we win life. And from equality of care, we win a lot of equality. Thank you for your attention. And just before Louise coming with us, and she's very lucky because during 2 weeks, she don't see any CPR. My team said, she come back in Scotland and she said, we don't do nothing, in fact. And the last day, before she takes his flight, I think 1 or 2 hours before, I don't remember, Louise, you can say, we have an alert on the Eiffel Tower. Wow. So we take Louise, and she's very lucky because I never do on the Eiffel Tower myself. And I'm very jealous, in fact. This is why I show the picture. And she do on the Eiffel Tower anyway. We do some course. Thank you for your attention.